Imagine the weight of history, still palpable after 8 decades. 80 years after the end of World War II, Japan and China are commemorating the anniversary in vastly different ways, each with its own unique ceremonies and dates. But here's where it gets controversial. The differing approaches to remembrance reflect the deep-seated tensions that still linger between these two nations. Japan observes the anniversary on August 15, the day Emperor Hirohito announced Japan's surrender in a historic radio broadcast. This solemn ceremony is a poignant reminder of the end of a devastating conflict. In contrast, China marks the occasion on September 3, the day after the formal surrender on the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, with a grand military parade showcasing its military might. This stark difference in commemoration highlights the enduring impact of World War II on both countries. Japan's occupation of China during the war was marked by brutal invasions and atrocities that, by some estimates, resulted in the deaths of 20 million people. The scars of this wartime experience continue to affect relations between Japan and China today. A museum in the Chinese city of Benxi pays tribute to the anti-Japanese resistance fighters who braved harsh winters in log cabins in Manchuria before retreating into Russia. Their return was only possible after the Soviet Union declared war on Japan and launched an offensive into Manchuria on August 9, 1945. The same day the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on Nagasaki. This dual pressure from the Soviet Union and the U.S. ultimately led to Japan's surrender. Fast forward to today, and it is China's military that raises concerns as it seeks to enforce its territorial claims in the Pacific. When Japan discusses bolstering its defense to counter this threat, China is quick to point out Japan's militaristic past as a convenient retort. We urge Japan to deeply reflect on its historical culpability, earnestly draw lessons from history, and stop using hype over regional tensions and China-related issues to conceal its true intent of military expansion, said Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jiakun last month. Hirohito's pre-recorded surrender broadcast on August 15, 1945, was difficult for many Japanese to understand. The emperor used archaic language, and the sound quality was poor. However, what mattered most was that the message came from the emperor himself. Hirohito was seen as a living god, and the war was fought in his name. Most Japanese had never heard his voice before. The speech is a reminder of what it took to end the wrong war. Nihon University professor Takahisa Furukawa told the Associated Press in 2015. This year, Emperor Naruhito, Hirohito's grandson, and the Prime Minister are set to make remarks at the annual ceremony in Tokyo on August 15, broadcast live by public broadcaster NHK. At last year's event, Naruhito expressed deep remorse over Japan's actions during the war, but on the same day, 3 Japanese cabinet ministers visited Tokyo's Yasukuni Shrine, drawing criticism from China and South Korea, which see the shrine as a symbol of militarism. Japan formally surrendered on September 2, 1945, in a ceremony on board the American battleship USS Missouri. The foreign minister, in a top hat and tails, and the army chief signed on behalf of Hirohito. The signatories on the other side were U.S. General Douglas MacArthur and representatives from China and other nations that had fought Japan. China designated the next day, September 3, as Victory Day. 11 years ago, the Communist Party intensified how China marks the anniversary. All of China's top leaders, including President Xi Jinping, attended a commemorative event on September 3. The renewed focus came at a time of rising tension with Japan over conflicting interpretations of wartime history and a still ongoing territorial dispute in the East China Sea. The next year, China staged a military parade on the 70th anniversary of the end of the war. A decade later, preparations are underway for another grand parade with missiles, tanks, and fighter jets overhead. Russian President Vladimir Putin is among those expected to attend, and this is the part most people miss. The differing ways in which Japan and China commemorate World War II reflect not just historical events, but also contemporary geopolitical tensions. What do you think? Should these commemorations be more unified, or do the differences highlight important aspects of each country's perspective on the war? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.